How's it going, YouTube? I am the Blackout Viking, and welcome to the new channel, Blackout Viking Vlogs. Don't worry, we're still going to be doing some ASMR, we're still going to be doing some other stuff. I just wanted to make a new channel so people didn't feel scammed when they were coming in looking for ASMR. Found out there was different kinds of stuff, not just strictly ASMR. So I thought a name change was appropriate. And yeah, I think so far it's going really well. And just a little sneak peek for next week, I'm going to be doing something with a pomelo fruit. There's a kind of faddish thing that's going on. I think it's starting to die down a little bit, but I have an experiment that I wish to do with a pomelo fruit. Check in next weekend and see what I do with it. So I received a very interesting little message. When this person put out this message, they scampered away before I was able to respond, which is a very interesting little move. I wanted to address it here. I'm going to be talking like I'm speaking directly to them, but it's also for everybody. Feel free to listen and let's see what they have to say.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're honestly sorta rude. You despise furries, we both have gone through the same. I forgave. You just fill yourself with spite for furries. Listen, I like you, I really do, but do you ever think that maybe the reason you don't have friends isn't everyone else's fault?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna stop you right there. Anytime that you start out a message with, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, we already know the context of this message. This message is going to be a negative message. It certainly isn't going to be upbuilding or kind in any way. And whenever someone says, I want to be honest with you, two very distinct things pop into my mind. Either that you have been dishonest with me up until this point, which of course usually isn't the case, or let's be honest, what this is really this person taking out their axe and sharpening it. So they're going to be really honest with me, so when they start throwing put downs out, then they're hoping these insults cut a little bit deeper than they would otherwise. And a little bit of context, I think a little context is necessary. I have a Discord because I think it's important so that people can interact with you, or be able to talk. I think it makes it feel a bit more personal, and I want to know about people and how their day's going. I mean, I want to interact with the audience that I have. It's not a huge audience, but it is a little bit of an audience, so I'd like to interact with them. Speaking of, if you would like to join the Blackout Raiders, there is a link in the description, so go ahead and hit that up. Join us, become part of the raiding party. Anyway, let's get back to this message. You're honestly sorta rude. That's a rather interesting one, especially that last half there. The sorta rude part. If you go to a restaurant and you order pufferfish and someone comes out and it says, it's sorta poisonous. No, it's either poisonous or it's not. There's no real middle ground there. And that's totally fine. If you think I'm rude, just come right out and say it. I think you're rude. That sorta kind of sounds like it was meant to cushion that, like you wrote down I think you're rude and was like, you know what, that sounded a little bit harsh. We should throw sorta in there. Again, if you think I'm rude, totally fine. My only question is, I wonder why it took you this long to figure out that I'm rude. And the context on the reason this person thinks that I'm rude is rather interesting. Let's see what they have to say on that. You despise furries. Interesting, you needed to capitalize the word despise, every single letter. When you do that, that seems to imply it's a little bit more personal. So despise. That's a really harsh word in and of itself, and to make it all caps. Anyone who's been in my Discord server knows that I don't think very highly of the furry fandom. Let me say that again. Anyone in my Discord knows that I don't have a high opinion of the furry fandom. I don't have anything against a person in general. That is how I feel about people. I think people can be cruel and unkind generally, but a person can be very kind and very loving. But don't take it from me. Check out this MIB personnel.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
When I say that I don't have a high opinion of the furry fandom, that usually implies that there's experiences that have led someone to a particular choice. Like, I don't like raspberries. Something must have happened to bring you to that. Perhaps you're allergic, perhaps you got sick off of them, maybe you started getting high. Something happened to bring you there. And I find it interesting that there's no context to that. There's no realization that something must have happened to bring me to that point. I started the furry fandom at 12. There's stuff that happened, perhaps I'll have to share some of those stories eventually. That's completely disregarded, it's just that I despise them. And it's presented in a way where I don't have any reason for it, which is rather interesting. Let's continue. We both have gone through the same, ooh, kiss your mother with that dirty mouth? I'm just messing with you. This statement really confused me because it's factually incorrect. I'm assuming this person to be 14, 15 years old, something like that. There is literally no way we have had the same experiences because our experiences color our worldview. And again, there's no way we have had the same experiences. There's things that you have experienced that I certainly have not. And there's absolutely things that I have experienced that you haven't. That's not even including the fact I have been on this earth longer than you've been alive. Twice as long as you've been alive. It's just factually incorrect. This argument is meant to be a contrasting argument, clearly. So we're starting out that we're both the same. So now he's gonna tell us how we're both different. Let's see how he does that. So in regards to having gone through the same stuff, I forgave. You, sir, need to be nominated for sainthood. Absolutely a saint. All the experiences that you told me in confidence you forgave all of those people, man, you are an absolute saint. Never mind that all you did was complain about them, but you forgave them. You forgave them, right? Absolutely needs to be nominated for sainthood. So that's him. Let's see how I contrast to that. You just fill yourself with spite for furries. Next time that you write a message like that, you should have left the for furries part out of it and just say that I filled myself with spite. That would have rolled a little bit better and it sounds a little bit better, right? A little bit more dramatic. I forgave, but you fill yourself with spite. The for furries part just kind of let some of the wind out of that sail. But it got me to thinking, do you understand what the word spite means? Because in the context of us having several conversations leading up to this point, I find it really interesting how you used it. So Webster's defines the word spite as petty ill will or hatred with the disposition to irritate, annoy, or thwart. I find that very interesting. It's a very judgmental statement you did there. I'm full of spite for furries. No, I simply just don't have a high opinion of them. That doesn't mean that I'm filled with hatred. Or the other one is a little bit more telling. Petty ill will. That seems to suggest that any reason that I would have for not having a high opinion of furries is automatically petty. Being hunted down by an internet pledo, we'll say, at 12 years old, apparently that's written off as being petty. And I bring that up because this particular person knows about this, and this was one of the very first experiences I had with the furry fandom. That's just one of the very many reasons that I don't have a very high opinion. And the fact that you insinuate that that is petty is rather disgusting, and I am choosing to believe that that is not how you meant it. Putting that aside, I do not have anger or hatred for furries to hunt them down, to irritate, annoy them, or thwart them. I truly don't care. If you want to dress up in a big costume of a raccoon and do whatever it is that furries do, I literally don't care. As long as it's legal, it doesn't hurt anyone, and I don't have to pay for it. It has nothing to do with me. Literally nothing. I don't care. You do you. Just don't hurt someone else or do something illegal, guys. Come on, mess with your own age group. Listen, I like you. I really do. Now, once again, that is the sharpening stone coming out. He's sharpening that axe. So he's already told me how honest he was, and then tell me I'm rude. And then say how we're the same, and then talk about how different we are. And now you know that this is coming. I like you, I really do. So now he's making it personal. So he really, really likes me. Oh, he likes me so much. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. But that's simply sharpening the axe for his final over the head slash. So let's see what big insult he has for the very end. But don't you ever think that maybe the reason you don't have friends isn't everyone else's fault.
And his name is John C.
You got me. I've been found out. Once again, context is left out of this. Friendship is very important to me. As I have told this person, and I think this might be part of it, there are only 2 human beings on this earth that I would actually consider friends. But that's because I have a very high opinion of the word friendship. I think there might be a little bit of frustration here because for most people, talking to someone for a couple of weeks makes them a friend. That's not how it is for me. I have to talk to you for years consistently, and the person has to prove that they're trustworthy. That's not how everyone views friendship, and that's totally fine. I have a very rare view of friendship, and I acknowledge that, but that's the reason why I don't have a lot of friends. And he's right here. It is not everyone else's fault. I also never claimed it to be everyone else's fault. From the very beginning, I always said that I have a very high opinion of friendship, and that's why I don't have a lot of friends, because I don't want just some person I've been talking to for a couple of weeks. That when people are talking to each other online, you tend to be a little bit more open because you have that veil of secrecy. You're not talking directly to another person. But let me tell you, as you get older, that's not enough. I mean, if you continue to mature normally, that's not enough. You want that interhuman communication that you can't get over a cell phone or computer screen. And again, there's nothing wrong with this, and a lot of this is coming from someone who's really young and hasn't matured up to that point yet. And I promise that is not me making fun of you or trying to put you down or make it out that your argument is not valid. I'm just simply stating facts here. And I was kind of addressing this as a real post, but let's call it what it is. This person was angry because we disagreed on the furry fandom. Very interesting that this is our first disagreement, the first time where our ideas don't match, and instantly it is determined that I am rude, full of spite, a petty ill will, then states how much this person likes me before taking something important to me, which is friendship, twisting it into a weapon and then trying to stick it in the back. Let's just call it what this is. Not saying that this video I'm making is any better. What this is flat out immaturity. This is someone who's wanting to fling insults and wrap themselves up in the fake veil of maturity while they're doing it. So then if I was to react angrily, which was the point of this, is to make you react angrily, then it looks like you're being the immature one, while I was just being honest, we're friends, I like you, I'm just trying to be honest. Let's be real, that's not what's going on here. This is just throwing personal insults. And to add credence to that, when this person sent me this message, they left the server and blocked me before I was ever able to respond. That tells me one thing about you that's big time. That is a very cowardly action. To take things that are important to someone, use it as a weapon, and stick you in the back. Now, I expect that from internet trolls, certainly. But once again, what really shows your age is the fact that as soon as we disagree on something, then personal insults get thrown. Even taking things that mean something that's important and using it as a weapon purely for the purpose of harming the other person. That is immature, childish nonsense. I am absolutely gonna go to the little microphone that I have, and I'm gonna tell everyone about it. If you know, because I think at least a couple people who watch me can figure out who this is, don't harass him, leave him alone. If you know who this person is, you kind of understand where we get to this point, and I do share some of the blame because I kind of knew what I was taking on. But the point is that you can't just do this and run away. When you do that, you ensure that the person will run to a louder microphone. And that's just a little dab of the Streisand effect. So I know that you were trying to give me some suggestions, some advice. We know what you were really doing. You're just looking for an excuse to throw insults. So I actually want to give you some advice. And I want to give you 2 very specific pieces of advice. Number 1, do not tie your identity to a group, an idea, an object, or a particular person. What I see a lot of young people do is they will take something that means something to them and they will bond their identity to it. So anyone who criticizes that thing is immediately making a personal attack on them. Let's talk about a video game. How about Spyro the Reignited Trilogy? I personally love it. I think he's adorable. I love the game to death, of course. But some people might go, you know what? I don't like that game. I think it's trash. And that literally would do nothing to me. The fact that someone doesn't enjoy a video game that I enjoy means nothing. It doesn't take away my own joy. It literally does nothing. And I think that you have to get to a certain age where you have that kind of epiphany that, oh my God, you don't like it. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. But again, it's that maturity you have to get to before that's clear. And again, once again, I am not slamming you. Okay, I was at least 17 before I figured this out. People wouldn't like a game and I'd instantly get angry until I realized it literally did nothing to me. Don't bind yourself to the furry fandom because at some point you're gonna grow out of it a little bit. That doesn't mean that your identity is shattered. Sure, maybe it's a part of what makes you who you are, but that is not the total sum of your identity. Don't let it be, because that gives someone immense power to come after you. Don't do that. Protect yourself. This is advice for everyone. Don't tie yourself to a particular idea or a group or a person. This person was a moderator and talked to me several times, and the words that were chosen seemed to imply this person looked up to me as almost like a role model. The fact that I wasn't exactly what they had dreamed then shattered that pretend reality in their head, and it felt like a personal attack. And again, it wasn't. The second piece of advice that I'd like to give is don't make every single conversation a negative, toxic dump. Now, what do I mean by that? If every single time I talk to you, I do nothing but tell you about how bad my day is, how horrible my sister is, how horrible my boss is, how my car breaking down wasn't fair, this person overcharged me, that's not fair, this person said something to me in Walmart and it's not fair. If every single time I talk to you I do nothing but do this negative toxic dump, what's gonna happen? When you see my message come over Discord, what's gonna happen? You're gonna ignore it because you know as soon as you get me started, it's gonna be an hour long about how nothing is fair and not one thing you could say to me is gonna bring me back down, because if you do, you're now not believing me. Reason again I'm saying this, every single time you messaged me, it was nothing but a negative, toxic vomiting spell. You never once had a good day. Everyone was mean to you. Teachers were ignoring things that, if in true, would get them fired, which makes me think that some of the teenager explosion out of proportion thing, but even if that is, like, you need to do something about it instead of going to some person on Discord and complaining about it. That literally will change nothing. If it is truly that bad, and this is how you challenge people, by the way, if it's truly that bad, then do something about it. And when you're talking to somebody like that, suggest them real things to do and look how quickly they will get angry. Because if you keep doing that, that person won't come to you when they need to have a toxic vomiting spell, because you're not giving them the reaction they desperately need, which is someone to get just as emotionally ramped up as they are so they feel like they're right. Don't do that, because you're feeding the troll. They will come back again and again and again. I am 31 and apparently I have still not learned this lesson yet, which is the reason it keeps happening. Take that, learn from it. Now, I understand that there are times when things get so bad, you need to vent about it. You need to go to that trusted person and you need to have that vomiting. You need to get that vomit out of you. You need to get it out of you. If I'm standing in front of you with a bucket, go for it. Go for it. I am here. I will hold your hair and pat your back while you vomit out all the bad things that's happened to you. Right? Nothing wrong with that. Literally every person on this planet has done that and will do that. No problem with that. But if every time I see you, you run over and vomit into my lap, when you walk away, you feel better. I now am covered in crusted vomit that I get to clean up. You do that enough times, I'm gonna get really ticked off and I'm not gonna want you around anymore. Those are the two pieces of advice I really want everyone to take from this. When it comes to this person individually, if this is how you feel, you need to go on your own ship and go on your own journey. You're still young, you need to find yourself, you need to find who and what you are. If a 15-year-old came to me and said that they know exactly who and what they are, I'd call them a liar and a fool. Wait to hit your 20s. You're gonna change personalities about 4 or 5 times. Things are gonna mean a lot to you, and then one day, they don't mean anything to you anymore. But that's the way it's supposed to be. Let yourself grow. All this petty stuff, it will fall to the wayside. I know when you're watching this video, it's gonna feel like a personal attack. Come back and watch it at 25. There's a little bit in there that I'm twisting a little bit to get back at you because I'm a little bit petty, but at least I have the gall to actually acknowledge it, not drop a bunch of toxic turds at someone's door and then run away before they have a chance to respond. Also, speaking to this person directly, saying how honest you are and how much you like someone does not give you free rein to say a bunch of nonsense. You need to grow up. And I mean that in a true, genuine way. I also mean it as a screw you way. You need to grow up and get over it. You're gonna meet people that disagree with you. And it doesn't hurt you if someone disagrees with you. If someone comes to me and say that they don't like dragons, I don't care. It literally means nothing to me. Granted, it takes time to get there. You will get there. Just give yourself time. Well guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you give the new channel a chance. Really interesting coming up next week. It's a process and it's a little experiment that I want to do for the next several months. And I'm gonna take you on the journey with me. Until then, join the Blackout Raiders and come raiding with me. And until then, Skol!